Hello, everyone. I am Bisrat. I am from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. I'm an architect and a World Heritage Specialist with previous experience in Ethiopia, across Europe and Australia, and now over the summer at Falllingwater in Western Pennsylvania. I was here thanks to the support of World Heritage USA and Modernism Week, who sponsored my stay at Falllingwater. I'll say a little bit about Modernism Week later in my presentation. But with that, I'll just get into my presentation. So just to give you a brief overview of what I've been up to over the summer, as my summer started with an orientation week in DC, along with the rest of the IEP cohort for 2025. I got to meet wonderful people from all over the world who were about to go to different sites across the US and across the world. And then I got to Falllingwater, which is in the forest of Western Pennsylvania. It's a quite remote part of the country. It's in the deep forest. And this house which was designed by probably the most famous American architect, Frank Lloyd Wright. In my opinion, I think this is the most recognizable residential building anywhere in the world. I see in the second picture down there. So I started my preservation work at Falllingwater after the orientation. And besides the main preservation project that I was doing, which I'll get into shortly, I was also doing side missions, if you may, which included, for example, electrofishing, which is a way of surveying the aquatic life in the river that flows through Falllingwater. It was a way of surveying what kind of fish were there, which I found quite interesting. And we are also doing volunteer community gardening in the areas nearby to the site I was at. And I also got to see other Frank Lloyd Wright sites, other houses, which I found to be quite enlightening. So coming to my main project for the summer, my main project was documentation of past preservation works at Falllingwater. And this is the time period I was working was from 1985 to 2005, so this 20-year span. So I was tasked with identifying what kind of preservation projects were happening during this time and organizing all the project that happened in this 2 decades into a project file and the folders, neatly organize them into folders and spreadsheets so that you can see what's been happening over the years at Falllingwater. And that meant that preservation projects in the past can now be easily accessed from in one place. So to document the preservation work, the past works that have been done, I was going through old photos from the Falllingwater collection. I went through thousands of photos, and so some were small slides and some were negatives. So I was going through all of that and matching the digital copies with the hard copies and accessioning them to the archival system. My focus were mainly on preservation photos that show preservation work, though there are a lot of photos from the Falllingwater collection, but my focus was on the ones that show preservation projects. The resources I used to make to do my project was mainly photos. So I relied heavily on photos, historical documents. So this building was built in 1937. It was completed in 1937. And there are photos dating all the way back to its initial days. And in addition to those photos, I was also using construction documents. So drawings, bid documents, invoices, correspondences to try to understand who did, for example, who was this contractor that did a certain work in 1990, for instance, or 95, or you get the documents and the pictures and try to get a full understanding of what actually happened in those years. And whenever I couldn't identify the exact dates for this project, I went around interviewing people who've been working at Falllingwater for over 40 years or some over 30 years. And I was asking, hey, do you know when this project was happening? Do you see this picture here in this? Do you know this person? Or do you remember when this crack was filled or when this part of the house was repainted? So based on those photos, the documents, and asking people, I could pretty much narrow down what year, if not the months, maybe the season of the year. So we have a good understanding of what happened during those 20 years. And the next part of the project was since I heavily relied on pictures that was taken in the past to get a reference of what the house looked like across the years and what was the states the house was on in a certain year during the span I was focusing on. So I went around each room documenting the 2025 benchmark. So this is going to be used as reference for the future to say what did this room look like in 2025? So I used past photos as reference. So the idea is for people coming in the future to use the photos I took as reference for the future. And that also included a to-do list. So if you might see the picture on the far right side, so there are cracks or maybe some paint job that we need to keep an eye on. So I developed a to-do list of things that we need to keep an eye on. And all of that came down to was collected in a project management program called SkySight. So this is a project management software used mainly in the construction industry, but it comes in really handy because it's easy to understand for the layperson. You can see the floor plan and all those icons you see are clickable. So you can click on those and it shows you what happened in this room, what previous preservation work has been going on at this specific corner of the house, and also what does this space look like in 2025? What does the ceiling look like? Are there any cracks in 2025, or are there any noticeable leaks in this space? So that it all boils down to SkySet, and it can easily be understood by anyone without being it too complicated. And this laid down the preservation infrastructure that can be used for future projects, preservation projects, and decision making. So it it simplified how preservation is looked at Falllingwater, and you now have a one-stop shop to understand to get all the data you need to that make future decision making easier. So when my time at Falllingwater ended at the towards the end of August, my internship was extended by a Modernism Week, which I mentioned at the very beginning. Modernism Week is based in Palm Springs, California, and where I'm at right now. They invited me to their base in Palm Springs to see the other Kaufman house. So the Falllingwater house was built for the Kaufman family. It's found in a lush forest area, and they had another house built 10 years later in the desert of Palm Springs, which is in a completely different environment to what Falllingwater is. So they invited me to see this house because this is also an icon of modernist architecture, and just like Falllingwater, even though this is not yet a World Heritage Site, it is considered quite iconic. So they invited me to see that, which I'm going to see tomorrow. Actually, I still haven't seen it. I'm very excited, looking forward to it. And this trip is also meant to be an architectural immersion trip. So Palm Springs is known for its mid-century modernist architecture. There's a lot of those houses here. It's been fascinating as an architect to see all this modernist architecture, and I'm very grateful to be for my internship to be extended by a week so that I can see all of this. And I'm very grateful for everyone that made this happen. I'd like to extend my special thanks to Caitlin at the World Heritage USA. She's been amazing at organizing all this. She's been very helpful. And I also like to sincerely thank my supervisor at Falllingwater, Scott Perkins. He's been amazing at guiding me and helping me out and everything. And thank you, everyone.